So, we're here with Chris today for him to help us to be successful in interviews. Being a recruiter, I'd quite like to know how I can give my candidates the edge.
Well, I think the edge is a key word here. You're going into one of those moments of your life which is really important potentially for you and your family, and you need an edge to get over that hurdle. Think about it. If you were going to be taking, an important moment in your life, taking a driving test, for example, you'd have lessons, wouldn't you? If you're going to be taking a maths exam, you'd be doing practice tests, you'd be doing all sorts of stuff by way of preparation. And I think people need to do that ahead of their interviews, prepare themselves for their interviews to make sure it's going to work. And there are some very simple techniques that can help with that.
Can you tell me more?
So let me ask you, Ryan, what do you as a recruiter think that somebody doing an interview is looking for?
So once they pass the CV test, the interviewer would look to assess the skills, but I suppose most importantly to start with whether you're actually liked or they like you.
I think you use the words to start with, and I think it's very important. There's those moments when you walk in the room, you create that first impression. It could be just the first 5 seconds, some people say, the first, 5 minutes, whatever it is, that first impression, you've got to get it right. So you want to be going with a positive attitude, you want to be going prepared, you want to be going dressing appropriately for the person on the other side of the table, and you probably want to be going in with a smile as well. Because they're going to be assessing whether they want you as a person to be working with them perhaps for the next 2 or 3 years, or working with members of their team. So that first impression is going to be really important.
Okay, that makes sense. And I suppose someone easy to work with and someone who communicates well as well?
Well, I think communication is going to be really tested in the interview. If you just start rambling in response to questions, you don't know when your answer is going to finish, and you just go on. Your job is to make it easy for the interviewer to hire you.
Okay.
That's the message with interviews. Make it easy for them to hire you, and to do that, you might need to think about the way you communicate.
Okay, so what can we actually do?
Well, there is this wonderful trick, which I'm sure many people know. We call it the power of 3.
Yeah.
It's around us, wherever we are in the world today. Acronyms, 3-letter acronyms: BBC, BMW, LOL to be more up to date. It's never 2, it's never 4, it's always 3, because 3 things are always easy to remember. So we can structure our answers by making 3 clear, simple points. It will be easy for the person on the other side of the table to understand this, and what's more, you'll know when to stop talking. I've seen so many people just ramble on in their answers and never know when to stop talking. So use the power of 3.
But can it be that easy?
Well, yes and no. It's easy to think of 3 things, but it can be a risk of making it sound a little bit clinical.
Yes.
Okay. And if you keep doing it all the time, it becomes a bit obvious. So what we need to do as well is to bring it to life.
Okay. So how can we do that?
Well, bringing it to life is the most natural thing in the world. You tell stories, you give examples, you tell anecdotes. It's what we do very naturally. And the great thing about telling stories and anecdotes is that it's easy for you to do, because you know them, and it's easy for the other person to relate to. So if you can combine these key points that you want to get across with an example or an anecdote, then I think you can give a very strong message.
So 3 points for every example. Seems a lot to remember, Chris.
Well, it may seem a lot to remember, but you don't have to have the different points and different examples for every possible question.
Okay.
So there's a sort of a mix and match thing going on here.
Okay.
What it's good to have in your mind is the idea that you're going to deliver a simple structure of 3,
Yes.
and the elements that you can sort of slot in along the way.
So that's great with preparing. Surely they need to know about the company they're looking to join.
Very important, as I'm sure you tell all your candidates. Very important for 2 reasons, really. One is that you're going to be in a better position to be able to answer their questions if you can put yourself in their shoes and make your answers more relevant and applicable to their background. And the other thing is you're going to be able to ask questions, because at the end of an interview, almost inevitably somebody will say, "Have you got any questions for us?" And if you're not prepared, you're going to look like a bit of a lemon.
Okay. So from what you say, you can approach all interviews in the same way.
I think
surely not.
Well, I think fundamentally in the same way. What you have to do is obviously adapt, as we just said, to the company and to the person on the other side of the table. But please take all interviews equally seriously and prepare yourself assiduously for them.
Okay. So how can we sum this all up?
Well, I think let's just use the power of 3 again. Really focus on creating that first impression. Present yourself well. Think of what the best of yourself is on a good day and take that along with you to the interview. The second thing is make sure you get your structure right. So use the power of 3 to make your messages clear. And finally, bring it all to life. Make it personal. Bring it to life by using great examples. And of course, never forget that smile.
Great. So what's nice is it all sounds simple but really powerful. And I know from experience that my candidates have really benefited from this advice. So thanks a lot. Thanks, Chris.
It's been a pleasure, Aaron.
Thank you.